Hey, what's going on YouTube? Hey, it's January 26th, and anyone who's counting, this is still January, and a couple of you mentioned to me yesterday that I promised a video a month this year. So thank you to the few of you that have reached out to hold me accountable to this. I don't have anything new to review on Hugh's Reviews, but a lot of people have been asking about these, the micro magic beans. I did a video on them not too long ago when I received this set here. I had to tweak with the magnets a little bit just to get them feeling a little better because the layout that came in them, I found out from Magnus, was not the finalized layout that they ended up shipping out in all the beans. So this one took a little bit of tweaking with some magnets that I had at the house, and then these ones here are the second set that I purchased from the site, and these ones here were also sent with a other than standard magnet layout in them. So as you can see, they pull apart real easy. They kind of have that same issue that I was having with the ones that I made a video on, these ones over here. So these ones I haven't gotten the proper magnets from Magnus yet. I need to get the 7mm by 3mm magnets for this one. It's missing that size magnet inside, so it's not as strong on the ends as it needs to be. But the question I've gotten the most is, how are the micro beans comparing to the originals? And let me tell you something, folks. I've had these in my pocket every single day since I got the magnets in them set up right, and I don't know if it's because they're just a little easier to use, but depending on your hand size. I have large hands, so it took some getting used to the form factor, but when I go back to the real beans, the originals, now they feel gigantic. They feel so big, it's like cumbersome and heavy. But I took them to work today and I was using them, and I never took these out of my pocket because I had these in it. There's something about the original beans that just sticks with me and I can't let it go. Like I've told everybody over the years, if I had to pick one fidget out of everything I have, which is well into the 80s now of different Magnus items that I've collected, if I could only pick one fidget forever, it's the magic beans, and that has not changed. The only thing that has changed at all is that I would put an asterisk next to that because these ones are just as good. I'm really enjoying the micro beans, and I have talked to Magnus a little bit about maybe a size between this. We got the micros and the originals. I'm saying a size right in between. You call them mini beans, and I really think that's going to be the sweet spot. For people with, average sized hands, these will be fine, but I think something a little bit bigger would be more usable. I really do think that people need to try these. But the same thing goes as the originals. 8 is great. These come in sets of 8, which is perfect because I think like I said in my initial video, it would have been a nothing burger. There's just not a lot you can do with 4 of these little guys. But with 8, it's been great. I love it. They're a lot of fun. But when it comes to the original beans, like I can't use 4. It's boring for me. I don't enjoy it. So using 8 has been the way for me since the very beginning. And that's the way I suggest everybody treat it. Now, another thing that I get a lot of questions about, and hopefully I can clear some things up in this video, is what is my preference between titanium and zirconium? Simple answer is, if you're only using your beans on the couch or in the house over carpet, and you're a very light user that just kind of folds things around themselves, and you just like the little click that it makes and the texture feel and the little tactile feedback you get from the texture of the Zirc, then you're going to be all good. They're good. They're a little heavier, so like all my beans, all my large OG beans have N52 swapped all the way across the board, so they're all N52 magnets, so they are a little stronger, but you need that in my opinion. The problem with the Zirc, when they're plates, they're great. The Zirc plates work really well for a lot of people. Personally, I have hands that perspire quite a bit, so the Zirc plates tend to get a little gummy and sticky. So for me, they're not enjoyable. I always end up having to tape one side. But it's a little different with the Zirc beans because you're not relying on that exterior for a slide, right? They can get a little sticky and you can still flip them around. You can still do the things you want to do. But that being said, if you are I would say an abuser user like me, these are my beater beans. I've had these from the original orders. Now these I've resurfaced twice. You can probably tell they're pretty beat up. If I get up here closer, let's take a look. And you can see these beans are just used, man. I use them all the time. The surface finish from the factory is gone, but they're still smooth. They're still usable, you know, and they're still overly enjoyable. So this is the pair I take everywhere. You know, if I drop one on the desk or something, or if I drop it like on the floor at work on our hardwood floors, like I'm not worrying about these because I'll just buff them with some buffing compound and get the feel back. I have my secondary tie pair that these are the ones I keep at home. You know, they have the surface finish from the factory still, and they're not very abused. So these ones I kind of use on the couch when I'm just chilling at home. But that's why I have two sets. When it comes to Zirc, I just don't use them that much because with these, you can clank them together and you're not going to have any problems. You do that with these, you're going to get little tiny white dots with where the Zirc coating comes off. I have never dropped these beans other than from couch level to the carpet, so they've never actually hit hard floors. And if I bring them up here and I show you, see if I can get them close enough. Every single bean has a little tiny ding on the same spot on every bean. It's kind of hard to see, but in outdoor light you can see them glimmer. That's because I had them in this orientation and I dropped them on the floor. Just the impact of them hitting each other from like 2 feet left a ding on every single one of them in the same spot. So if you're trying to really just get into it with these ones, you can cause surface damage, and it just, for me personally and my OCD and how I want things to look good and pristine, other than these of course, you just don't get that. You get this wear line on the ends where it's a little shinier because they've rubbed together right there more than anywhere else. And they just don't look as pristine as they did when they were brand new. The problem is they're also more expensive, and you know, you spend, what is it, $180 or $200 for one set of 4, so you get into 2 sets for your full set of 8, and you're looking close to $350 for a set of magic beans. You're gonna go close to $450 for 2 sets of 4 for Zirc beans, I think. And it's just, there's better ways to spend that kind of money, I think, on these fidgets. And if you want the Zirc, then go for it, but I would actually recommend against it just because it's my personal preference. But I've always been a tie guy too, and a lot of you guys know that. Tie's been my thing since I was a kid. That is pretty much my feelings on all things beans, I think. The micros are really good. I do really enjoy them a lot. It's just the initial set that I got is just, it's better because I got the magnet set up right. So the second set that I got, I'm still waiting on the 7mm by 3mm magnets to get those set up properly. But until then, I'm just rocking the one set, and I'm enjoying them very much. So if you guys can, head over to magnusx.com. See if you guys can find a set. I know they kind of drop periodically. There's really no rhyme or reason to it other than first come, first serve, which is kind of fair in my opinion. So one thing I may have forgotten is you might want to know how the magnets are set up. The set that came with not such a great setup in them, If you can see here, it just has two 3x6 or 6x3 magnets on the exterior sides, and then there's a O-ring in the middle, and then two 6x2 millimeter magnets in the center. Magnus said they did this because it felt good enough and they were out of certain magnets, so they sent them out anyway. And him and I spoke, and that was probably not the right way to do things. They don't feel right, they don't have the right strength. So I'm still waiting on the 7mm magnets to get these set up properly. And then these ones, the ones that I have set up properly now, these are set up with the way the magnets are supposed to be shipping from the factory now. So you've got 6x3 on the outsides, you have a 7x3 next, and then the internal ones are 6x2 millimeter, and these are all N45s. So as you can tell, it's a little dumbbell shape, kind of like in the original beans how it was a dumbbell shape, and it just gives you that better strength on the ends, so it holds together in certain moves and stuff. I can try to display that for you guys real quick before I cut this off again. Some of the things I like to do with the original beans, you know, your basic moves, just kind of splitting them down the centers, let them fall onto each other, split them down the center, flip them over themselves, you know, stuff like that. And then I also like to get into where you split them down the center like this, kind of separate them all into a square, slam the two middle ones together, and then separate those, let that fall over, and then you can split these into a different kind of a pattern. And, you know, it's just something different to look at when you're doing it, so it's kind of fun to try to get them back to their orientations and slide it that way, split it again, you know, this direction, and then you're right back to your normal layout. So those are a couple of ones I like to do, and being able to connect them in this orientation and split them down the center, right? I like being able to lay them out like that. With these, you can't do it. It's just the magnets aren't set up right, and you just can't get it done. So if you try to split them, that falls apart just right. But if you try to split them and get them to do that other move, it just doesn't do it. There's just not enough strength for them not to connect in a certain way. So let's try again. I've even tried two hands, and it does not work like it does with this set here. So you rotate that over, and it starts to split them. They don't stay connected. So even if you try to get them to lay out in the proper orientation, they tend to do this little split thing, and you end up with more of a cross in the center with borders on the ends. It just doesn't hold up. These ones, you can do everything the same way as the originals. You can split it, rotate, split, and it does the same thing. And they function practically the exact same way as the originals in every way. So if you get a set that don't feel quite right, check your magnet layout, and they might not be set up quite right. Refer to what I showed you earlier, the little dumbbell with the 3x6, with the 6x3, a 7x3, 2x3, 2x3, 7x3, 6x3. I think that's how it is. Anyway, so that was how the magnets are set up in the micro beans. And if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm in the Facebook group. I'm the moderator over there, as many of you know. So reach out, ask me anything you want to know that I didn't cover in this video. And that's all I got for you guys today. Kind of a quick but not quick video, because I'm never good at being quick, it would seem. So yeah, so let me guys know in the comments what you guys think, what you'd like to see me review this year. I'll try to get my hands on some new stuff before the end of February, And I will be back, and I'll see you guys on the very next Hughes Reviews video.